Alrighty, January 8th, 2021. Conditions are right out here in the field to get across this ground and get some manure spread. This is a new field that I chisel plowed and disked up this fall. It was a orchard grass field. The orchard grass had thinned out really bad and had a lot of wild carrot coming in here, and there was thin bare spots. So instead of interseeding, trying to improve the field, they decided to rip it up. Been wanting to do this field for years. So I have limed it. I surface applied some lime. So it was good to get that incorporated in. And now what I'm gonna do is I wanna spread some manure. It's close to where I keep my cattle for the winter, where I'm winter feeding. So I've got a good storage of manure there. And right now there's too much snow to get out in the fields with my dump trailer at other fields and get that manure dumped. So I thought, well, this is close enough to where I'm wintering my brood cows. I can just drive the tractored spreader up and down the road. But before I do that, I want to get out and soil test and see where I'm at before I throw a bunch of manure on, and then see, kind of calculate based on my manure application if I need any more fertilizer, because I'd like to do this field right. So, all right, I'm going to get to it. So this is only like a 10-acre field, but I had this field, I tested it a couple years ago, and there's two different parts of it. One's a real low yielding part of the field, and the other one is significantly higher. And what happened was, in the soil test, it was almost like I didn't know if at the lab, I'd sent two different testing, because obviously the field wasn't homogeneous. So I didn't want to mix soil samples of, good part of the field, the bad part of the field, and then essentially you're canceling out your results, really. Which, that's what most people do, is they sample, they know their soil, and they go to and test those different parts of the field separately. That's what's always advised. But the bad part of the field tested out with like a pH of 7.0. The good part of the field tested out like 6.2, which is pretty darn low for alfalfa. If you're just doing orchard grass, though, it's not really, that low. So yeah, so that's what I'm doing here. Is I'm gonna just sample out the sample it again. I have put a little bit of lime on the last 2 years when I've been putting manure on. You didn't really put enough manure on here to make a difference. And, on these grass fields, you don't see a lot of difference putting manure on, any type of aged manure. You probably would if you had liquid manure, liquid dairy, or obviously if you had poultry litter with a significant amount of nitrogen in it. But the nitrogen in regular, pen pack type cattle or horse manure doesn't do, it doesn't do squat. It's all tied up as organic nitrogen, and it, there's not enough of it there to do anything. So what I'm gonna do today, though, is I am gonna put some really fresh cow manure on. I'm gonna I've been feeding my cattle in these bale rings and leaving the bale rings in one spot. So all the carbon, all the hay litter and all that stays in one spot, and then they're crapping all around that cattle ring, and there's like a berm of manure, a fresh, more raw manure, not mixed with hay, hay straw type material. So I'm gonna put that raw manure on here, and then what I think I'm gonna do in the spring is come in, with the chisel plow and try to deeply incorporate it, and that's what a lot of the experts say with the all, get that phosphorus, all those fertilizer components deeper into the root zone. I was watching those videos on Ag PhD, and that's those guys, you know, when you're surface applied material doesn't really get down as deep as we'd like with these, you know, deep rooted species like alfalfa anyways. There is going to be orchard grass in here too, but that's what I'll do, because usually what I do is on a field like this to try to do that fall tillage and then get the primary tillage done, even do some finishing tillage like I did with a field cultivator in the Midwest Harrow, so that that seed bed's pretty firm by spring, and all I gotta do is go in there and lightly fluff it up a little bit, scratch that surface with the Midwest Harrow, and then put my alfalfa down. That way I got a more firm seed bed, and I'm less likely to leave deep tire tracks, because I'm always combating tire tracks and then roughing the field back up. What I think I'm going to do, as soon as the soil's thawed in the spring and it's not too muddy, is get out here. It could even be 3 weeks before planting, and chisel in that manure, get that going. And this is close enough. I might be able to get 10-15 tons per acre manure on it. If I get that much of fresh manure, I'm probably actually getting a lot of nitrogen in at that point. And I probably won't have to put down a starter fertilizer. But we'll see what these soil tests do, and I'd really like to see if I have adjusted my pH, you know, the last couple seasons, especially now I got it. I did the soil test after I had already plowed it up this fall, which usually I'm always soil tested through the sod before you stirred it in and mixed all, you know, the top inch layer with the sub layer. I'm going down like 8 inches. So I'm going to call it a 0 to 8 inch soil test. Yeah, so this is what I'm trying to get rid of. Trying to get this cleaned up so it's not so deep here. I got around those 3 hay rings cleaned up pretty good. I did about 5 loads so far. So give these girls some hay, they're hungry. I did clean this up quite a bit here. This stuff's wet and heavy. And I bought this spreader, I think in 96 maybe. I did blow a gearbox out once, spreading lime with it. That's why I put very little lime in when I do the calcitic lime. But yeah, these cows aren't in, they're just getting fed there in one spot. Usually I'd like to bale graze that slope, but we haven't had frozen enough ground to bale graze, but they're out of the mud. At night they come over here in bed. They got about 100 acres of swells and brush and trees to get in, so they're in dry area at night. You know, cattle will go use cover to get out of the wind. You see horses, horses will be right out in the open. It's got to get really cold for horses to use cover, but these cattle, they get down here. There's a lot of thermal cover. All right, all in all, it's a successful day. It feels good to get out and actually do something in the winter. You know, weather's been, you know, rainy, snowy, icy, and there hasn't been a lot to do. I have been delivering a bit of hay in the last couple weeks, so that's you know, kept my spirits up. So getting some you know, manure out on the field, I feel like I got something done today. You know, up here in this northern climate, the days are short, and we haven't seen the sun hardly in like 3 weeks. I mean, it's just a heavy clouds. Gets dark, you know, about 5:30. Doesn't get light again till after 8 o'clock. There's not a lot of sunlight. But anyways, thanks for tuning in. I'm planning on doing a live stream on the next Tuesday, so that should be January 12th, 2021. Probably got to go to a friend's house to do it, though. I tried that one the other night, and my upload speed is super slow, and it just ended up fizzling out, and everybody dropped out because my feed stopped because the signal's so bad at my house. So I'm going to make it work, though. I figured out how to get my microphone working and my camera working. So, all right. Tune in on the 12th. We'll have some fun. I want to do it at 9:30 Eastern. I know that's late for a lot of us that are on the Eastern time zone, but figured a lot of us don't get in and, you know, get done with dinner until that, and then that helps people in the Central, Mountain, Pacific time zones be able to because I got a lot of friends out there. I'd like to talk to them. All right. Good night.